Number 5, Goldust, WWE to TNA. Or truthfully, anytime Dustin Rhodes sensibly miscast as an apparent child abuser while on a less.
They actually greenlit this shit, bro. Oh,
what's up?
What up, it's Ahmadjay back here with another video. Today we're about to be reacting to a video by WrestleMania. The video is going to be on 10 WWE wrestlers who jumped promotions and ruined their career. Man, this talk has been, I feel like this talk can go for like each generation of like wrestlers throughout the years, bro, because you know, back in 1999 I would say like Bret Hart, or you know, after the WCW shit ended, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, bro. We all know the infamous storyline of when he jumped ship and then Vince gave him a stalker gimmick. Oh my god, bro, it completely ruined the era of his aura out of everything. I mean, he still has a legacy in DDP yoga, but like, it's just I feel like he just got ruined right on the spot when he came in the WWE. And you know, Bret Hart, when he went to WCW, he was stuck in the mid card and got his career ruined by, you know who, Goldberg. And then I would say for the modern era, for me, I would go with Andrade, because like he jumped ship twice. He jumped ship to AEW. They didn't do shit with him. I would say Rusev too. Rusev jumped ship over there. They didn't do nothing with him. Then Keith Lee. Oh man, Keith Lee. I have not seen him on TV since. I mean, maybe sometimes it could depend on, because he said he was having health problems, but mostly I think they just don't have anything for him. There's too many like people in AEW and WWE. I wish there was like another big ass promotion that like got the big push. So like I'm in for every wrestler just getting a taste of like all the wrestling. I want them to have a job everywhere, bro. But let's just get into the video. Tell me what your guys' picks. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you've been enjoying wrestling reactions. Let's get
Roberts, WWE to WCW. Regarded as one of the best wrestlers to have never won a championship in the WWF, that wasn't the reason.
Oh my god, I forgot about this aspect. I know this was way before my time, but like I forgot. I didn't know bro never won a championship, bro. God damn. I mean, I know sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow. Why didn't you give Jake the Snake at least one run with the Intercontinental title back then, or some championship? That's crazy.
Behind Jake Roberts' decision to walk away. He was booked to lose to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 8 in what was just the second match of the dead man's soon-to-be legendary undefeated streak. But having reportedly been denied Pat Patterson's position on the writing team, a job that he had apparently been promised by Vince McMahon, Jake departed Stanford and the WWF for Atlanta and WCW. Depressingly, that transpired to be the biggest mistake of his entire career before it even appeared on Ted Turner's programming. The Snake was rumored to have been signed by the then WCW Executive Vice President Kip Allen Frey, which was a lucrative deal in the region of $3 million. But once Cowboy Bill Watts took over the post before Jake had appeared on television, his contract was cut down to just $200,000. It didn't help that his actual...
Okay, I can get that insight. I would be so pissed if I was promised $3 million and then got $200,000. Still a lot of money, but like that's like an unfair cut. You promised me when I came there you were gonna give me this money. That, yeah, man, no wonder why WCW went under.
Running the company was such a letdown. He feuded with Sting in a rivalry that didn't really resonate with fans in the way it should have, and their infamous coal miner's glove on a pole match is still regarded as one of the worst matches in either man's career. Unsurprisingly, he was done by that November. He would return to WWF in 1996, but things had moved on from then. Number 9, the Junkyard Dog, WWE to WCW. Another WWF alumni who failed to taste a slither of gold was the Junkyard Dog, who swapped sides in the winter 1988, but his run got off to an almost immediate sour note as he was binned just 6 months after he arrived, after having no-showed a live appearance and the 1989 Wrestle War. JYD eventually got his act together in the early 90s and managed to return for 2 subsequent runs of varying levels of success. The first saw the ex-WWF mid-carder elevated to main event status as he feuded with Ric Flair over the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. and even managed to defeat the Nature Boy in a high-profile tussle, albeit via disqualification, which meant that he did not become a world champion. The second, that saw the Junkyard Dog drop a significant amount of weight to embark on a run that saw him jumping from one tag team partner to the next without much effort being put into any of his short-lived alliances. He left for good in July of 1992. Regrettably, his bleak WCW career was the last noteworthy thing the Junkyard Dog ever did. The real-life Sylvester Ritter tragically died after falling asleep at the wheel on the morning of June 1st, 1998. He was just 45 years old.
Rest in peace.
Number 8, Orlando Jordan, WWE to TNA. And we won't lie to you.
I still just don't understand like how they didn't give like people a run with like, you know, one title at least. Even this nigga right here, Orlando Jordan, got a title run, like with the U.S. title. I know the U.S. title around this time, especially kind of like got like was tossed around a lot and also wasn't looked upon good. But like they could have gave the Junkyard Dog at least one title run. I know everybody can't get a title run, but like one title run, bro. One. Like, bro, it's people that get quicker title runs with like nothing titles nowadays, and they literally cement their legacy somewhere. Like, it's crazy.
And claimed that Orlando Jordan was a top-line main eventer in WWE, but he did manage to have a lengthy reign with the United States Championship. A reign that began when he pinned the legendary John Cena. He then lost it to Chris Benoit in an infamously brief match at the 2005 SummerSlam pay-per-view, so it wasn't exactly all great. But still, he pinned John Cena. Few wrestlers can say that, especially those who have since been lost to time. But there's a reason you don't recall his run in TNA. Orlando was let go from WWE in May of 2006 at a time when he was preparing to launch a controversial bisexual character that absolutely would have received the same level of deserved criticism that Glad dished out to the Billy and Chuck wedding from 4 years earlier. In circa 2010 TNA, however...
Damn, bro. I don't want to say they had a problem with it, but might have had a problem with it.
Orlando Jordan finally debuted the gimmick, with the only difference being this and his more noteworthy stint as JBL's chief of staff being his attire. He ditched the black and gold trunks for a pair of black boxers, then covered himself in caution tape, and yes, it's every bit as atrocious as you think it is. He left TNA after a...
Jesus Christ. I heard wrestlers like, you know, always messing around with the oil. We seen Biggie, but like I have never seen nobody just squirt lotion on themselves mid-entrance. Oh, I can get why the career was ruined. I mean, not career, but I can get why everything was just ruined right here.
Bizarre 18-month stretch and hasn't wrestled at all since the summer of 2024. Number 7, Rikishi, WWE to TNA. Considering how prominently the Anoa'i family has been presented on WWE programming for, well, forever, it's almost impossible to picture any member of the clan lacing up their boots anywhere else. However, Rikishi didn't have much of a choice though. His second stint with the market leader crashed to a halt in the summer of 2004 because he had failed to meet WWE's request to lose weight. With his Too Cool revival days behind him, Rikishi moved on to travel to the Indies between 2004 and 2007, when in September of that year he landed in TNA as Junior Fatu for a run that would last.
Bootylicious. This man had a whole thing around his waist saying bootylicious. Oh man. That's a crazy ass thing. I would only expect this from a woman, bro. I'm not gonna cap. I would never only expect this from a woman. That's some crazy ass stuff you was rocking back in the day, Rikishi.
Last all of 44 days. In summary, he debuted on the September 13th Impact, competed in the Reverse Battle Royal at Bound for Glory, and was granted his release on October 30th after he was unable to compromise on a pay rise. Rikishi was still treated as a major get for TNA at the time, but he was hardly on the same level as previous year's acquisitions like Kurt Angle or Team 3D. Instead, he was a joyless caricature of his iconic Attitude Era self. Number 6, Ahmed Johnson, WWE to WCW. With a charismatic fire lit underneath him and an imposing physique that would have left Vince McMahon foaming at the mouth, Ahmed Johnson should have been a surefire hit, and he was for a time, to some extent anyway, until he had to put his family first in February of 1998. That's understandable, of course, but 2 years had elapsed between the end of his time in the WWF and the start of his new life in WCW as Big T, and boy did it show. The former Intercontinental Champion had put on a bit of timber since fans had seen him last, which was a contributing factor to his decreasing ability between the ropes. Maybe take the opinions of cage match users as proof. Of his top 5 worst rated matches on the site, 3 of them were contested in WCW, which includes a 1.62 rating given to his Super Bowl 2000 outing versus Booker T. It's difficult enough to reboot a successful tag team with a new lineup. Just look at WWE's disastrous attempt at replacing Hawk with Heidenreich, for example. But Harlem Heat 2000 was an exceptionally terrible idea, and unsurprisingly, Ahmed Johnson was released by June because of, wait for it, weight issues. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you can't like follow like Ahmed with Booker T, bro. Booker T was just so athletic, and you know the charisma was there, bro. Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you. Nah, I'm not referring to that, but like, yeah, we already know Booker T was more talented than Ahmed Johnson. No disrespect to Ahmed Johnson, he still did his thing back in the day, but like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes they were way too strict on like the weight nowadays. I feel like they're more lenient with like people in weight nowadays.
Number 5, Goldust, WWE to TNA. Or truthfully, anytime Dustin Rhodes departed WWE for greener pastures, except for his most recent exit in 2019 to sign with AEW. A man of many gimmicks, the second-gen star is also a man of many promotional jumps, very few of which went down a treat. His second run in the WWF ended in 1999 and saw him swap the Goldust costume for a spot as Seven in WCW, who was ostensibly miscast as an apparent child abuser, while on a less sinister note.
Oh my god, bro. Who the fucking gives somebody creative and they greenlit this shit? They actually greenlit this shit, bro. Oh, this is worse than any other gimmick on this damn thing. No wonder why he was just so unhappy. Like I say, you seen what's coming like a few seconds ago is because I seen his promo and he was unseemingly so happy in this promotion. Like I can get why. Like what's the point of painting bro's face? Like, I mean, just because the Goldust gimmick got over, but like you give him a gimmick that's 100 times worse than the Goldust gimmick in any other thing. 100 times worse than any other gimmick. I'm surprised they were bold enough to even pull this shit off.
He twice swapped the bright lights of sports entertainment for the dim lights of the Impact Zone. In both 2005 and 2007, he joined TNA's payroll, the first time as Dustin Rhodes and the second as Black Reign, a gothic take on his iconic Goldust persona that was received about as well as that time Roman Reigns was caked in dog excrement. Well, it was dog food, but it looked pretty dodgy. Now, before we get too harsh on this period in his career, it's important to highlight how badly Dustin was suffering in his real life at the time. Writing in his 2010 autobiography, Crossroads Goldust, Out of the Darkness, he detailed his troubles with substance abuse. Eventually, and thanks to my dad, I started working for Total Nonstop Action for $1,000 a show. He was the boss, right under Dixie Carter. TNA wasn't doing well at that point, but I had a job making okay money. I could drive home just about every night. All I was doing what little I had to do in the ring, then hanging out spending my money on coke, pills, and booze. I have no idea how I was able to stay on point with work at the time, when my cardinal rules was never to drink before I worked a match. I wouldn't consider doing coke before a match either. I take painkillers, fine. I've been taking painkillers for so long that I had to convince myself I really need them. I was taking medicine because I worked in a tough business. That was a story I had cemented into my mind, but drugs have a way of altering everything, including the stories you tell yourself. Eventually, I started doing a little coke before matches while retaining my vow to never drink alcohol before I go into the ring, as if that was something to be proud of. Number 4, Medusa, WWE to WCW. Although we were still a few years away from Trish Stratus being ordered to undress and bark like a dog, the WWF Women's Division was still in a state of disarray during the mid-90s, having been non-existent until the signing of Medusa in 1993. Dubbed Triple A, she became the face of women's wrestling in North America, becoming the first WWF Women's Champion since 1990 and contesting noteworthy feuds with Bull Nakano and Bertha Faye, even if she did have to plead with Vince McMahon to hire more women. Unfortunately, a financially troubled WWF decided that celebrating the efforts of its female employees wasn't worth the cost, and sunset the division by the end of 1995, hereby ending Alundra's tenure. She reverted to a Medusa moniker, joined WCW as one of the first to jump ship during the Monday Night Wars, and made the single biggest mistake of her entire career. She was pressured by Eric Bischoff into dropping the WWF Women's Championship in the bin during a live transmission on Monday Nitro. The moment
God damn, man. Yeah, just to think of how much this will probably be like in the world of social media today. This will probably set social media on fire. Forget like live TV. But like, I know back in the day, this was still kind of a biggest deal to wrestling fans, because like, holy shit, somebody just threw the WWE champion, the W Women's Championship away on another network.
Instantly became one of the most infamous of the era, but at what cost? Medusa ended up not doing a whole lot in WCW. Her actions led to her being blacklisted from Vince McMahon. fans organization for about 2 decades,
Two
not returning until a Hall of
decades?
Fame induction in 2015. Number 3.
2 decades? A lot of people have done worse. And literally, Vince McMahon was that petty? All right, I don't disagree with that. I mean, the disrespect was on top because you appeared on another promotion. You brought Eric Bischoff in way before you even forgave her. Eric Bischoff did so many terrible things. I know he made money, but I don't give a fuck. Like, you literally that just doesn't make sense to me. He pushed her into like throwing that shit away on TV. It was his idea, and you literally forgave that. Oh, money, money, money. God, I hate Vince sometimes.
Jeff Hardy, WWE to TNA. A tedious tale of substance abuse and legal issues has hung over Jeff Hardy like a dark cloud for much of his professional career, but it reached its boiling point during TNA's Victory Road pay-per-view in 2011. Booked to lose to Sting, Hardy entered the match visibly intoxicated, turning what was scheduled to be a standard-length pay-per-view main event into a glorified squash. Numerous accounts have been told of what actually happened, but the prevailing story is that nobody else in power was in gorilla position at the time, leaving Eric Bischoff to call an audible and order Sting to shoot-pin Jeff Hardy. Understandably, the paying customers in Orlando that night chanted this was bullshit, to which Sting replied in agreement. The next day, Jeff Hardy...
Yeah, I can get why that's really bullshit, because people paid their hard-earned money, and I'm pretty sure they were only probably going just to see this like crazy ass match that we never seen before, and probably we will never see. Like, we will never see this match because it was just ass. It had to be done quick. Jeff Hardy versus Sting, we would never see that. Bro, like I can get why people were just so passionate in that building, man. And Jeff Hardy, I know I would have thought this would have like kind of cleared him up and would have gave him a wake-up call, but like, shit kind of happened a little bit again.
He was suspended from his contractual obligations and sent home from the company's television tapings. The only upside to this wretched match is that it opened Jeff Hardy's eyes to his very real problems. He explained as much on Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast in 2017.
That was my eye-opener. I mean, for the rest of my life was that night with Sting. And man, I love him so much. He was so great after that, coming back and being in the best shape of my life in 2012, whenever that was, when I won the title again or whatever. Basically, in a sick way, that was kind of an eye-opener for me to see that and to feel pitiful for myself. 2012 was one of my best years ever, just coming back from that damn tragedy of a story. And so basically, just being on the road so much, I got carried away. And addiction got the best of me.
Unfortunately, Jeff Hardy's dealings with substance abuse weren't behind him yet, as he had been arrested 3 times in the last 15 years, all of which were on drink-related charges. Thankfully, he's now got his life back on track. Number 2, Scott Hall, WWE to TNA.
Yeah, I'm rooting for I'm rooting for him, bro. I'm rooting for him to just stay clear of the alcohol and just, keep on with his life, bro.
Much like Jeff Hardy, dealing with drugs, alcohol, and facing up to the consequences of his actions also played Scott Hall's career, especially when he sought employment with TNA. The bad guy's first 2 stints in the Jeff Jarrett-founded group saw him make a number of appearances in 2002 and throughout 2004 and 2005, but the drink and drugs had taken over his life once again by the winter 2007. Hall had been slated to partner with Samoa Joe and Kevin Nash to take on the Angle Alliance in the main event of Turning Point, but he no-showed for, well, quote-unquote reasons, which prompted Samoa Joe to deliver an out-of-character shoot promo. Hopes were renewed though for Scott Hall in January 2010 as he returned to TNA during this first live episode of Impact to be broadcast opposite Raw, in which he began the latest NWO ripoff. That even included a brief stint with the World Tag Team titles, but by the end of June, Hall had been fired, having not informed TNA management of his May 14th arrest for disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Mercifully, he entered a rehab facility shortly after his termination, which WWE thankfully sponsored. And number 1, Bret Hart, WWE to WCW.
Rest in peace to him, man. Yeah, bro, drugs are a lot to just deal with, especially like when you're in like the wrestling world, because like you put your body through so much pain and through so much like surgeries throughout the years, and like sometimes painkillers and like those drugs be like helping cope with people, and it's just never a good like thing to just turn to that.
Enough has been said about the Montreal Screwjob to fill an entire school curriculum, so it shouldn't be of any surprise to hear Bret Hart's name here, but the extent to which WCW fumbled him in the aftermath never ceases to amaze. Whether Screwjob benefited the WWF by spurring its hottest boom since Hulkamania ran wild during the 80s, Bret Hart's legacy was left in tatters. He was introduced to a WCW audience not as one of the very best wrestlers of all time, but as a referee for a match between Eric Bischoff and Larry Zbyszko. As if that wasn't
You introduce Bret Hart coming off the hottest story ever, the Montreal Screwjob. You could have gained some heat from that by putting him directly in the matches, introducing him, signing him right away after he mentioned your company on WWE TV, and your first like appearance for him is a fucking referee. No disrespect to the referees, but this is a wrestler. This is a whole person that literally just like came off like a hot ass storyline, and well, not a storyline, a hot ass incident, and you do this. Fuck, WCW deserve is this whole type of downfall.
puzzling enough,
God.
Hart then had to be involved in the finish to the '97 Starrcade pay-per-view, which saw WCW replicate the Montreal Screwjob in a match between Sting and Hollywood Hogan. It was equally as embarrassing as it was idiotic. Guest appearing on Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions podcast in 2020, the Hitman tore into WCW's handling of him. I remember you talking to me and you said, they don't know what the hell they're doing down there. Guys that have been there, including Kevin Nash, said, don't ever go there. They're the biggest, dumbest idiots in the world. There was so much talent I could have worked with. Booker T, Hulk Hogan. I should have worked with Hogan right away. I should have had Hulk Hogan in a sharpshooter and done some big numbers with him. I went to WCW, I had more heat. I'd wrestled you at WrestleMania 13, I beat The Undertaker at SummerSlam, I knocked Vince McMahon out. I didn't really lose to Shawn Michaels. I had so much heat, and they just didn't know what the hell to do with me. Now, Bret Hart did find some solace on the other side as he won several championships, but his career was also ended prematurely thanks to a stray kick delivered by Goldberg at Starrcade 1999. Not that he ever talks about it or anything. But there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers.
Hey, bro. On the other hand, I can't. Okay, I get it. Your career was ended by Goldberg, but like, I think bro just needs to stop talking about this. I get it, bro. Like, you gotta stop living in the past at some point. Even Goldberg apologized for this. Like, I feel like it is just like no type of point of just like keep giving this man shit into this and well into y'all elder years, bro. But hey, man, I mean, I guess that's just how he's feel about it, and that's just gonna how he's gonna keep feeling about it, bro. I'm still like tripping off the fact that WCW like let something like that like go. Like they're fucking idiots. But man, yeah, a lot of stuff on this list just really kind of made me trip, bro. I was like, what is going on, bro? But I don't think anything will literally top off that last one, because I was just like so kind of crazed out about that. And then Rikishi rocking the bootylicious around his waist. It's just so funny, bro. I don't know why it's just so funny to me, because you're used to a female wearing that type of shit, bro. But oh my gosh, let me know what moment you guys like below. Don't forget to check out the original video down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We're on the road to 850.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?